go down
Oh yeah,
Oh my goodness. I always forget about that.
directly at 7 usually.
Good to see you all. How was the week?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
pretty good.
Heard that some of you saw some changes to the website and saw some choice names.
Yeah, I don't think that's anything that we gotta mention.
No, of course not. Not like that would be related to Tuesday Group in any way.
No, we didn't.
No.
We had nothing to do with anything that you might be talking about, hypothetically speaking, of course.
Okay. Always covering his tracks, typical high elf.
Mm-hmm.
So, last week we left off after your group had gotten up to a couple of shenanigans. Most memorable, on my mind at least, is your plans for the city and the council structure that you had laid out. So, as we return...
I feel like I remember Mental Tier not agreeing to this, but I mean, that might just be... I'm not sure.
Oh, you were totally cool with it. I think it was just the last bit that you weren't cool with, and you know what? The dice spoke, and they decided, and it's final. So let's see here. It is, I believe, early in the morning because you had all slept, and then went to speak with Jack first thing, and have just finished signing up this council document. So all of you are in the tent with him here, and I leave it to you. What do you guys want to do?
I
Let's
still
put-
don't like the unicorns on here.
Just give it a chance. You'll see.
I feel like this will lead this city to ruins, but
Well, I believe that unicorns are born as natural governors.
I don't.
It's an innate
I don't
ability.
think that's true.
Well, I am the unicorn expert here.
I don't think that's true either.
How many unicorns have any of you seen? That's right, I've seen more than all of you combined.
Is seeing a unicorn the only requirement for being an expert?
Yes. As the expert, yes.
I don't even feel like arguing at this point.
Well, I suppose it's time to go gather around the council.
That and, well, deal with the Azure.
And see if they're up to it and whatnot.
With the piece of paper in hand, still here on the table, this little fold-out thing that Jack has laid in front of you all, you watch as he takes a quill and pencils down his name next to the house of Aesop there, signing on a line, leaving the rest of the 8 positions yet to be filled.
Mental Tyrion goes and signs his name next to High Wizard.
Okay.
Seems reasonable enough.
Okay, let me see if we can get this into the text here, just so I don't forget. That's not a text tool at all. Thank you, kind sir, whoever is doing that.
You are welcome, sir.
I look to the group. I say, "Well, the rest of you."
Oh my god. Is Dudarin the elected official?
No, that has to be elected.
I figured that would be. I figured he would be
Electing himself.
the hero or leader of the adventurers.
But by all means, everyone else go ahead.
Unicorn.
I'm sure he's got a name.
Yeah.
Make sure there's enough room for his, like, hoof print.
Things you don't normally have to think about with city documents. Jack looks to you all, and after signing here and seeing Meneltirn throw his name down as well, he says, well, best be swift with this.
Metal Tier nods.
I'll
Most
go
of the
speak.
time we have before the next letter from the Spire arrives.
I'll go speak to the guard captain, who Koala cannot remember the name of.
Who is this koala? No, just kidding. LOL.
Okay.
I actually don't remember his name either.
There's a lot of names. This is what happens when you run a town. You have to keep long records. So if you wander outside and go looking around, which I assume is your plan, dude, Aaron, is everybody else going with you?
Yeah,
Okay. So you guys
at least Metal Tier will.
Yeah, I'll stick around with them for now. Travel as a group as we get people on board.
Okay. So, wandering about, the group of 4 here go from one place to another, looking to see about getting this document fulfilled. When you go to speak with the guard captain, he's receptive to the idea, and seems cautious at first, expressing some concerns about maybe not being ready for this honor, but mentioning to him that I think he's the right person for the job, eventually signs as well. So you can
And
just
he says his name is...
Tim.
It's not Tim. I know it's not Tim. There are those who call me Tim.
Oh, is it Vara? Was that him?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Lucian's like, I'll buy it.
I have it written down as Old Man Wants to Fight, Vara. I think that was before he became involved with the guards.
Old man wants to fight.
I think that was me. I thought I was gonna have to fight him.
Those are good notes.
I guess I'll sign my name where everyone wants it to be.
Okay.
I'll look to Ivan. Ivan, will you not carry the banner of your god for this city?
Well, I'm of the opinion that no one god should have a seat on the council, but I'll carry it for the time being.
Meneltirn will nod.
Which one am I? Can I lead the trade guilds?
You were responsible for getting the druids to agree and finding a
Yeah.
unicorn.
Very important position, Vorak. Who else would be able to find a unicorn other than a unicorn expert?
Yes, you're right. Very important task.
Fuck.
And then I guess we'll head over to the temple.
Okay. It
Uh,
takes a minute or
can
two
we-
of walking, but you guys eventually get there. What's up?
Can we retcon a bit and have Jack prepare like papers and like voting boxes?
Oh, for the elected official?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, he could do that. He'll get little pieces of parchment done up so people can vote. He expresses that he's not particularly looking forward to counting them all and suggests that your group does so, but he'll collect them.
Do people know how to read and write?
Yeah, there you go.
We'll have to find a teacher.
Oh boy. We're not starting public education.
Okay. So you guys eventually
How is
get
he gonna
over
get Death
towards the
Laser?
temple. And if I remember correctly, the day previous you had spoke with Kassan, Vorak, and he had taken the shape of a hawk and flown away into the forest. As you come back here, you see that he is wandering about the temple garden and seems to have returned throughout the night. Your group of 4 comes up to the steps of the temple, and he steps out into the outer layers of the garden here and gives you all a bow.
I'll do the bow back. Kastan, my friend, how's it going?
Oh. It's going. How are you, Vorok?
That did not sound, well, very reassuring.
Yes, what troubles you, friend?
I spoke with the spirits and members of my order last night. Find that they have some of the same worries that I do.
Well,
Future.
worries about what?
The future of the town, Vorok. I'm pleased to see that some of the members of your flock here have taken up their druidic gifts, but I still worry for them as a whole. And, well, in light of new information, of course, extra worry.
New information? What do you mean?
I'd like you to roll an insight check, please, Vorok.
Vorok?
Okay. So 10.
Why Vorok?
He looks over at you, Vorok, and he gives you a very brief look, and you can tell that what he's speaking of is the talk that you had the previous day, though he doesn't seem to look like he's about to say it.
Oh, you mean about all the things I told you yesterday?
What
Yes,
did you
quite a
tell
lot
him
going on.
yesterday?
Well, I told him about the wizard spire and that the ones they killed last time, they might have been able to see who did it and what happened with the Ifrit and the Azur and the Plane of Fire.
Meneltiern puts his head in his hands and just shakes his head. Vorok.
Well, don't worry, Kassan. If you're worried about the future of Valu, that's actually what we've come here for. We're looking to form a council. We were hoping the Druids would care to be a member of this council.
Not the druid specifically, but any representative from the Elfwood.
Also, a unicorn. In addition to
He shakes
these
his head in
representatives.
confusion and holds up his hand to seize you where you are, and he goes like, a council for what, Vorok?
Well, to run the town of Valu.
Oh. Well, did you say something about a unicorn?
Meneltiern
yes,
nods
we
his head
Couldn't
sullenly.
come up with the last member, and well, I suggested a unicorn. Unicorn won out.
Not by vote by chance, I will mention, but
Yes, it was very good luck.
some might see it that way.
So I take it you wish to speak with my order then? Or is this something you're offering to me?
Well, either
Well-
way,
Both.
The way we see it is any representative of the forest will do. If you had someone else in mind, or the druids, we figured the druids and the members of the forest, as Vorok has told us, would be able to come to that conclusion themselves.
Kassan, it comes down to your future is intertwined with ours and ours with yours. We want representation so that we all may live and prosper together.
See. And what is your opinion, Vorok? Should I take this position, or should I speak with the spirits of the forest?
Well, I would be happy to have you, Kassan, but
Make
I
a persuasion
I leave
roll
it to
for
you.
me.
Big ol' -1.
-1.
11.
Not bad.
He
Could've been
nods
worse.
to you and he says, well, I would be honored. As long as it doesn't take me away from the temple for too long and the garden I must tend to, then I'll sign your paper there. And he motions over towards you, Meneltiern, and the piece of paper you have in your hand.
I'll hand it to him.
He signs the spot. I don't
I'll
know what you're going
motion
to do
to
about
the-
this unicorn, however.
I do not know, Kassan.
Perhaps you could help us with that, Kassan.
Well, they are supreme leaders. Lords of the Forest, but how you'll gain an audience with one, I don't know. I'm reluctant to
If
try
not,
and call
we-
a druidic meeting just for this purpose.
If not, we had other ideas. No need to push it.
Yeah, yes.
Well, Kassan, if you
unicorn
could get the
only
word
is
out.
absolutely necessary.
He looks at your group and says, "You seem rather conflicted on this
No,
last
no,
council."
no, we're all agreeing in this together. No qualms here.
I told them unicorns were natural leaders. It will do us well to have one on the council.
Sarcasm drips from the corners of your mask there.
Meneltiern stands there, motionless,
Well,
not saying anything.
Vorok, if your group does intend to speak with the unicorn, you merely need to enter the forest and call for one, and if it is to be, they will show, but I'll tell you now that I doubt it's going to happen.
Well, we might as well try. Shall we go, Vorok?
Yes, let's give this a try. So
Do-
I
so
guess
we-
I walk off to the forest.
And as Vorok starts walking off, I look to Kasana. So we go in there and we call for a unicorn.
He nods towards you. It's a hesitant nod, but it's a nod.
I just give him a nod and follow Vorok.
While they do that, I'm gonna go try and gather every tradesman.
Mm.
Oh,
The calligrapher, the glass blower, and
Assuming those people are even still in the town.
the basket weaver. I think was the other. We can't. We couldn't have lost the cartographer or the calligrapher.
We had
He
it
was
written down
vital.
somewhere. I have it on like an old file, just like all the names and stuff. But
We have more?
I thought you had 3. You had
Yeah.
3 random artisans, and
There was, I think, a weaver, a calligrapher, and a glass blower.
Yeah, that's
Okay, so you turn about and head towards the city.
And
for
who
the
knows
rest
if
of you
anybody
three,
else has come in the meantime.
What do you guys want to do?
I don't. I'm just following Vorok. This seems ludicrous to Meneltiern.
I'll walk out to an area that looks like a good unicorn
unicorn.
finding area. And
Okay.
I guess I'm just gonna shout out,
unicorn! Is there a unicorn out here?
Perfect.
I've come to offer you a seat on our council.
As you call out into the forest here, nothing seems to happen at first. It's a fairly cold portion of the forest where snow drops onto the ground and everything is quite tranquil. You see like a
No.
hare leaps out from a bush nearby and runs to another one, quickly scurrying into some burrow. Nothing seems to happen.
Well, it appears it was
Um,
not meant to be.
before I go, I'm just gonna take the time to cast Speak with Animals. See if that helps at all. I don't really know what they speak. So I'll
Okay.
do that for 10 minutes, and then once I've cast Speak with Animals, I'll shout the same thing, shouting for a unicorn.
Okay. You call out for a unicorn the second time, and as your group is there, the 3 of you standing in this otherwise empty and quiet forest, you hear what sounds like silent but ever closer growing hooves headed towards you
No.
from behind.
No.
As you turn around, you see what looks like the shape of a magnificent steed with a horn that protrudes from its head and an air of like divine light that radiates
Why,
off its body.
illusion?
Look, Meneltiern, it's magnificent.
I guess this makes me a unicorn expert now.
Yes, but I'm an expert because I've seen them twice.
Meneltiern just shakes his head a little bit.
Hello, good unicorn. It's a pleasure.
The creature takes a couple of steps closer towards you all so that it's only a few feet away, and it turns its head that one of its eyes might stare towards you, Vorok, and you feel like you can see like galaxies beyond, like in the lens of its eye there. It just stops and seems to wait for a moment.
Unicorn, I am Vorok. I come from Valu. I'm not sure how much you know of our town. I did see some of your kind at the last forest meeting.
The creature
We've come-
turns its head and cranes it back in the direction from where you came, towards the tracks and Valu itself off in the distance, and then turns back
Yes,
to you.
Valu. That's right. We've come to ask you or another of your kind to join our council. We are looking to bring some stability to this city, the forest, and the area around it. And we thought no better than a unicorn.
The creature stares at you for a moment, and then takes a moment in kind to stare at both Meltirn and then Ivan. Do you guys say or do anything as it takes a moment to look at you?
I'll give it like a slight kind of like respectful bow.
Okay.
Unless it says something to me or Ivan.
Kind of give like a brief nod.
Okay. Stares at the two of you and then turns back towards you, Vorok, and you hear a voice that speaks into your head that says, "Perhaps."
All of us or just Vorok?
Just Vorok.
Okay.
Continues to stare at you with his eye.
Well, I hope that is something you will consider. We don't ask of much. Just when times of need, when the council is called, that you attend and help make decisions that will keep our land safe for the future.
You're in debt to the wolf, are you not, Vorok?
Well, I didn't think of it as much of a debt as I was willing to assist it.
This is the Vorok of which I have heard of, is it not?
That would be me, yes.
You are known to me. I have heard of your exploits. There's
Oh, good
recent
things, I
news in the forest that speaks of trouble coming from your town.
Yes, the Wizard Spire.
Do you presume to grab a swift ally for the tides of wizardry that come down upon you?
Well, as I had told my friend Kassan of the Druids, the wizards know what happened the last time they showed up. I fear that the forest and those that live in it might be in danger as well. These wizards seem like ruthless killers.
Why would the wizards turn towards the forest?
Well, the last time they attacked, the Druids assisted us in destroying their wards. They seem hell-bent on revenge, and with the magic and fire that we saw last time, I would hate to see anything happen to the forest.
The creature speaks aloud now, no longer having this one-sided conversation into Vorok's mind. He speaks so that the three of you can hear, and he says, "I am not convinced." His voice kind of rings out and seems to bound off of the trees, giving a multitudinous set of echoes that come out from the forest.
What would it take to convince you?
I do not believe that the wizards have any qualms with the spirits of the forest. I think that their problem lies with you and you alone. I do not know what it is that you've done to anger them, but it sounds like it is not my problem, nor should it become the forest's problem.
What were you talking about? I don't entirely think that's what we were asking. We wish to offer a position on the Council of Valu to, a unicorn. He Meltirn kind of gestures to the one in front of him.
And why would I join a group that has so many powerful enemies?
The city of Valu is bound to be strong and grow. We thought it best to ally ourselves with equally strong allies.
So you presume to have equal strength to the spirits of the forest?
No, he misspoke. He misspoke. But I know how powerful you are, and even if you do not assist us in this fight against the wizards, we still wish to ally with you and have you on our council.
I'm gonna grab my axe and just hold it up.
I've used this axe to fight for Velu, but I'll also use to fight for and defend the forest and those who live in it.
Say I accept. Say I agree to lend my wise counsel to your town. I only rule over the forests, and as of yet, your city does not seem to be one forest. Furthermore, it smells of a trap.
You
How
think
do you
I
mean?
would trap you?
No, I think you would lead me into one unknowingly.
Never. I would never do such a thing to my ally.
Vorak, I don't think it's a matter of you would do it willingly. I think it's a matter of accidentally.
Well, then I would fight my way out and rescue my friends.
Metalchin kind of shakes his head a little bit. What trap do you presume us to lead you to?
A council chamber, soon to be beset upon by mages when I am without my domain.
If we were to deal with this threat to the city of Velu, would you then consider joining the council?
Roll a persuasion check, please, Metaltier.
I will do so. Oh boy. Go ahead, grab a little dice. Let's look over here. What do I got in persuasion? +2. Could be worse, could be better. Let's see where this takes us. That's a 21.
The unicorn pauses for a second, turns its gaze from you all towards the forest around, and turns back, and then says, I will join your council on one condition. I only rule over the forests, and if you wish so badly to have my wise counsel, and for me to sit upon this chair that you laid out, then your city will have to embrace the forests as its own. Take the trees as its walls. Take the leaves as its canopy overhead. It is the way.
We'll do it.
Yes, how do we do that? We will need guidance. Will the druids be able to provide it?
I will take care of it. Now show me how to join this council.
Meneltiern takes out the paper and he says, we would have you sign this document. Would a... Meneltiern kind of scratches his head. Would a hoof print work?
Nothing so crude. The unicorn seems to jump up on its back 2 feet for a brief moment and lets out a animalistic noise. As this happens, there's a flash of light that comes from the page, and you see a fresh wisp of smoke that leaves a signature newly placed at the bottom of the list.
Is it a name?
No, it looks like it's in like druidic runes, which cannot be
Okay.
read.
I say, excellent. And I'll just give a deep bow and I'll say, thank you.
The creature turns, and as it goes to walk away, seems to become ephemeral as it does so. Gradually, you can see through the horse-like creature, peering into trees and shrubs behind it, till eventually the whole thing fades as it's walking away and becomes nothing.
before he goes, I'll just give him that quick little bow from the meeting. Goodbye, my druid or my unicorn friend. It's truly an honor to have you on the council.
Maybe Meneltiern, as quiet as he possibly can to himself. Maybe a unicorn wasn't such a bad idea.
You think for a very brief moment, Vorok, you see the thing meet its gaze with you again, but it's so diffuse that there's really no way to tell. And it speaks into your mind, the voice very distant, as it says, "I'll see you again soon." It's gone.
Back to town then.
Meanwhile, back in town, Daenerys, you have been taking the stock of your artisans here, and sure enough, you have the three. The only one that you really seem to know on like a personal basis or have really heard much of at all is the glassblower here, a fairly elderly man with a very keen eye and a fairly scrawny form. The other two, there's a calligrapher, somebody who seems to be very adept in the art of making maps and writing, that sort of thing. And the other one is a weaver, somebody from the textiles industry.
No one new since the expansion.
No. Though your town has definitely grown, it doesn't seem that you've gained in craftsmen. There does seem to be a fair population of Kenku that have arrived here in your town and are living over kind of in like a corner of their own, like it's some sort of like containment ward. You don't know if any of them are craftsmen or not. If they are, your requests of the people to gather here has yielded nothing.
Okay. So when they all get before me, thank you for coming. And
What's all this about? Asks the glassblower.
we're finally getting some structure in Valoo. And to that end, we are creating a council.
The three look at one another with bits of confusion and excitement at the same time.
One of the seats on the council is a representative of trade guilds, which we have none of at the moment, but we do have you three.
The three look at one another again, and then the youngest, the woman here who seems to be the weaver in town, says to you, "Well, there's three of us."
Yes.
Is it? Have you come to pick one of us?
We decided it'd be better for the guilds or craftsmen to decide themselves.
Oh, they all look at one another, and then kind of nod in agreement towards you. After that, the group seems to huddle together, and they speak for a bit, or eventually they turn back a minute later. The decision comes fairly swiftly, and you watch as the textiles worker here, she turns to you and says, "The master glassblower, then," and points over. And the other one does as well here. The cartographer nods and says, "He's the oldest of us. Would certainly have the most experience."
Well, do you agree to this?
He
Glassblower
looks
that I
over towards
probably
you.
learned the name of?
He says to you, "Well, I don't have many years left, but sure."
If you will just sign right here.
He leans over and signs his name onto the last spot here. And
Which is...
And he immediately dies.
he tells you that his name is Resmer.
Resmer.
Sweet.
And that leaves but one spot to fill.
Sounds like thank you all. Resmer, I will be in... one of us will be in touch when everything is all sorted and we're ready to go.
Okay. At this point, you finish up your little bit here and turn to see the rest of your group arriving. Now, while while you go to rejoin the group, Dudairn, you also note that there are city guards who are walking between different tents and calling attention from people as they hand over to them little pieces of paper and ballots. You can tell that Jack has already set forth this vote for the elected official.
Oh, that's faster than I thought.
The rest of the group, you meet up with Dudairn here in the city.
Mhm.
Well, how went the unicorn finding?
We got him.
Surprisingly well. The unicorn, whose name I'm not sure we'll be able to read. I think it's in Druidic or something. Has agreed to join the council on the condition that the city embraces the forest and, I quote, takes the trees as its walls and the leaves as its canopy.
Hmm.
Whatever
do-
that means. He said he would help us.
Okay,
In-
so that answers my question of how are we supposed to do that then?
Additionally,
I'm all
I
for
think,
it.
I
Let's
think
just-
that he would like for us to deal with the wizard spire.
Great.
Neutralize that threat in whatever way we can.
So how do we do that?
That's different. That's something for us to figure out.
While you're all standing here, you see people who are going over, writing down on little pieces of paper. Some of them are speaking with the guards, clearly looking for help when it comes to actually writing something, as not all the common folk can do so.
all illiterate.
Now would
We're electing a bumblefuck.
A
Jack-
bumblefuck!
Jack would have known that someone who already holds, like they would say, like you can't write Dudairn. He already has a seat, right?
We shall see.
Okay.
Um, I guess we best start counting the votes. Speed up this process.
So as this goes on, I'm going to roll a luck roll here for you to see who it is that the city official happens to be.
The quality of the city official.
Oh shit! Well, it's a nat 20.
we get
Yes.
we get the best stupid person.
This one
So-
might know how to read.
They like have a 10 intelligence.
I mean, I have an 8 intelligence.
They're super average.
Jack meets up with you after some time. You can see his guards collecting the tallies and bringing them over towards the tent. He eventually comes back to you, and he says, "Well, that went faster than I thought it would. A lot of people didn't actually vote."
Oh,
Well, but is that a good or a bad thing?
I don't know. When I told them that Dudairn wasn't an option, a lot of them simply passed.
Did they understand that I'm already on the council?
I think so.
all
Well-
right.
Dudairn, you'll learn swiftly from your time in office that the common people are a mixed bag.
Morons, I think, is what he's trying to say in more or less words.
I did not
Well-
say that, Jack says.
Out
and
loud.
corrects.
Well, there was. That's fine. There was that time back in Westdale that we elected a cow for a year.
Oh my.
Flashbacks.
It's the best mayor we had,
fire.
honestly. I was too young to vote then. Missed that guy.
May
Anyway.
he rest in peace. He turns towards you all and he says, "Well, apparently there's an elderly woman by the name of Lana who's received the position."
Well, let's go talk to her then.
I suppose so.
Leading you off, you eventually end up in front of a little tent here, which is rather small. It's definitely not one that like a bunch of families live in or anything like that. It's just like a single little tent. And outside of it, on a broken piece of log, you can see there's an elderly woman who sits there in front of a fire. She has the telltale, like, resting face of somebody who's missing, like, most, if not all, of her teeth. And her eyes are
Oh
fairly,
my.
like, closed, as though she hasn't completely opened them in a very long time. She has like a little bonnet on her head and a little stick that extends from her hand here that she kind of plays with the embers of the fire with as you guys step up. As you get closer
hello.
before you can say anything, she just goes, "Yep."
I'm sorry?
Mm-hmm.
Or you,
Yes,
Miss
what?
Lana?
You already know that's me.
Right, that's not what I asked. Yes, what?
Well, you're here to deliver some news to me. Something I already know.
Oh, we more or less wish to speak with you about your newly elected position.
I don't want it.
Oh,
You're more than welcome to turn it down.
Okay.
wait,
Oh.
do you mind if I ask why you are turning it down?
It seems like too much trouble.
How do you mean?
I sit around on a council all day. Rather spend my time here at my tent.
It won't be all day. It will only be when decisions need to be made about the future of the town, and we wish to have representation of the common people.
Common. Is that what you could say?
His words, not
Yes.
mine.
Is there
Would
a
you
pay that comes
deny-
with this position?
I don't believe we determined
about
any
lunch?
sort of pay. I look to the rest of the group like hands in the air, like what do we do?
Those
Well,
details
old lady,
haven't.
perhaps you could just vote by proxy. You wouldn't have to leave your little tent here.
And the lunch?
We could.
You've got some berries.
No. I want meat. Something proper.
I look over to Ivan. Can't Ivan make meat? Isn't that something he can do?
Ivan
What
is
kind of
muted
food?
at the moment, it would appear.
Mm-hmm. Table talk question. What kind of food can Ivan make?
Food that is bland but sustaining.
Something tells me this lady wants something more than bland.
I think she's too old to even really taste the flavors, but maybe.
Make a persuasion check, please, Vorok, and do so with advantage.
For what?
Oh, natural 20.
Ha ha ha.
The lady cackles a laughter, seemingly enjoying your joke. She taps the side of your leg with the stick that she has here, leaving like a little charcoaly mark. She goes, "I like you. Fine.
I like you too, old lady.
Put me on the list then. Lana's fine."
I roll out the piece of parchment and hand her Quill to sign her name.
Her shaky hand soon places her name on the list, and you have your counsel.
But don't worry, Lana, I need some meat soon too. When I get some, I'll bring some your way.
She looks at you and goes, "Looks like you've got plenty."
Yes, and I require much sustenance. I can't eat these berries as much as I love the druids.
That's not what I, You have a good day.
God damn it, Aleutian.
So I guess we...
damn it. We have a
Bargain,
cannibal on our council now.
Barbarian Knight Vorok and Meneltyr the Jedi. Like, reading Discord comments.
Okay, so the council is made.
Well, now what, Dudarin?
It's left to figure out how to deal with the wizards. Oh, and we need to speak with the Azur as well.
What should we deal with first?
Well,
How exactly do we contact the wizards?
I was hoping you would know.
Lucian, would I know anything about contacting the Wizards of Soulsland?
You would certainly know, like an address as far as sending a letter to them goes. But whether or not
okay.
you have anyone to do that kind of thing remains to be seen.
I mean,
Okay.
they're in Novaria, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, do I know whereabouts in Novaria they'd be?
Yep.
Come from there?
They are very famous. They're from this town right here, from Soulsland. It's right in the center of Novaria.
Okay, so like a little distance from the home.
Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but after that fight with the Efreet, I don't know how ready we are to be able to fight wizards. We seem to be woefully unprepared. I mean, I had
Whoa,
defeated the
whoa.
one before he ran off, and,
Who said fight the wizards?
well, they want to imprison us, don't they?
They
Can't let
want
that
us-
happen.
They want us to attend a wizard court to, and Metaltrian puts up air quotes, answer for our crimes.
I've committed no crime.
We did kill some people.
That was. We've committed no crimes in our eyes, Borok, but they might see it different.
Well, this is Valu. We're the law here. There was no crime committed.
That's not exactly how that works.
It also may have something to do with Mavern and Westry.
I fear they'll make us give up their location.
I'd like all of you to roll perception, please.
Perception?
Yes.
Oh boy. Ah, no.
I don't have
There
any
we go.
perception. 10.
14.
10 of 14.
15. That's a 15.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, a 16.
16.
Yeah, that was my
While the
bad.
four of you are standing there chit-chatting, Meneltier, you notice something on the wind, which comes drifting through the tented areas here. You see what looks like a little leaf float by, and it takes a moment before you realize what it is, but it's actually a seed with like a couple of leaf-like protrusions sort of twirling through the air as it goes past.
It's a seed.
As you watch this thing go by, you
Yeah.
then
Where
see,
is
like,
it
two
going?
more of them that pass over your shoulder and kind of like.
I look towards the forest.
As you look over towards the forest, you see a bunch of people standing from their tents, also watching the forest, and what looks like a cloud of these little seeds.
Yeah, I just kind of tap everybody and I just kind of point.
Is this what they meant?
I think this is from the unicorns. I believe the forest is expanding into the city and we will be, well, living in the forest.
Oh, it's so magical.
That is an accurate statement. This is definitely some sort of magic.
Is there a guard nearby?
A guard nearby? Yeah, there's one like a few feet away, standing in awe, staring at all of this stuff coming out of the forest.
You there. Over here.
Darren, yes, what is it?
I would like you to, and as many other as you can get around
What-
to, inform
you-
people that this is probably... No, this is nothing to worry about.
Okay, good. Yes.
If you don't
This
mind
is
me
something-
asking, he speaks hushly. What is it?
Unicorn.
Yes, we've
We're becoming
made-
one with the forest.
That's one way to put it.
He looks
That-
over with a mix of worry and awe on his face as he stares at you.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
We will be protected from all sorts of evil.
The man looks
What do
like
you
he
think?
has 1,000 thoughts that are all fighting for the use of his mouth, and after a while, kind of mumbling and bumbling to himself, he just nods to you and runs off and starts calling guards to his attention, and they start running
Did he
around.
look worried when he left?
That and a bunch of other things.
Okay.
I'll have to have another speech about this. God damn it.
I don't think you should talk anymore.
I
Just
didn't want people to
throw-
worry.
just throwing it out there.
Somebody runs over towards your group here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different guardsman. Not the one that you were just speaking to, but another. And he comes running up towards you all with like a great deal of sweat falling from his body, his forehead,
Ew.
and his pits and everything. He's just been
Mental
huffing
Tune
it or
takes a
something.
step back.
And he
Are you alright?
says to you, "Oh goodness, it's good I found you.
What?
There's something you guys are gonna want to see."
Is
Okay.
it not
lead the way.
this? And I gesture.
He goes, "No, what is all of this?" Okay, it doesn't
Just
matter. No,
bring
come
it.
with me. And he runs off.
I follow him.
Yes. Also.
I worriedly am right behind him.
As you go running off, you eventually are led towards the cliffside here, towards the
Oh, no.
small little house where the entrance into the bottom area, like the underground heat vent that you have, seems to have been locked away. He quickly
Oh,
runs up
no.
and goes through the door, and then standing in the door for a moment, motions with his hand for you all to follow.
Mm-hmm.
You can hear the sounds of the townsfolk behind you throughout the tents, looking on in awe, and like
Mm-hmm.
children running around and
Mental
playing with
Tune,
seeds and
now where we are, is very worried, and is very hurriedly following this guard, if not passing him.
Okay. Running down the steps, he leads you to the portal there, and you see something.
Oh no.
The portal is currently closed as you had left it,
Mm-hmm.
reduced down to an incredibly small space of maybe a couple of inches. But you can hear something that resonates from the other side. There's an incredibly loud noise, like a bell tolling repeatedly.
Oh no.
Can I look through the portal? Not like
Make a
stick my head in,
perception
but
check.
like.
No, they're here. They're here. They built that shiny ballista for us. Oh no.
That is a 4.
As you stare through, you see nothing but murky and shifty shapes of red fire brass. It's impossible to tell what's on the other side of this portal, though you definitely hear something from the other side.
Dude,
Close
anything
it.
that
Close it. Close it. Close the portal. Close it.
we can't just close the portal.
Do it, Magic Man. Close the portal.
That's not how that works.
Borak, we need it for heat.
And I don't believe this is necessarily a bad thing. I do believe it's the Azar on our doorstep.
I couldn't tell.
Another worried guard here stands nearby to the portal. He has his hand on one of the stands that lead up to the crystal, and his hands are like shaking as though he doesn't know whether to move it closer or to pull it away as he watches you guys talking
No,
in the room.
I wouldn't worry. It's nothing dangerous per se.
Another loud ring comes shaking through the room.
Yes, okay. I think we best deal with this now.
Probably. I was hoping to speak with them, and
A little bit more time, yes.
I was hoping to speak with them like in their city rather than them be here.
Well, they're here now. Can I move the crystals away so there's just enough for like a person to get through?
Ah, sure. But even before you get to that point, just opening it up enough that something like fist size could fit through, a fist of brass comes jetting through and starts groping around wildly through the air,
Hey,
so it's reaching
calm-
for something.
Mental Tyrn starts shouting through the portal, "Calm down, we're opening the door."
You hear what sounds like speech from the other side, though you don't understand
Oh, that's right, they can't understand us.
it. The guard looks on in horror, staring at this metallic hand
Men-
that comes
Mental
out from the hole.
Tyrn casts, what is it, tongues on himself.
I stand stoically in front of the portal.
Mental
I
Tyrn
tell the
casts-
guard to go upstairs and guard the door.
His jaw has
So-
dropped, and as you call to him, he seems to be somewhat relieved that you've allowed him to leave his post, and he runs up the steps until it's just your group in the room.
Meneltern casts tongues on himself, and he shouts the same thing back through the portal.
As you call this out, the hand seems to pause for a second, as though your words have given it a moment of rest, and then retracts.
Yeah. My, they are an impatient lot, aren't they? So I again make the portal just large enough for a person to walk through.
Okay.
And once I do, I immediately step through the portal.
Ah, okay.
I'll step behind him.
As you do, you step to the other side here and are greeted to the sight of a squad of maybe 20 Efreet and some sort of veiled object in the middle of them all.
I jump. Can I jump backwards?
Yeah, please, please.
Or sorry, not Efreet. I said that wrong. I said that wrong.
Oh my god,
bad.
Aleutian.
The Azure.
The amount of
I don't need this
in
kind
my
of stress.
stomach.
That was my mistake. That was my bad. I derped. I'm sorry.
The amount of fear that was just struck into my very core. Holy. Whew.
There is a group of 20 Azure and a
Okay.
large blanket of what looks like a red velvet or something that has been draped over an object that is at the center of them all. The Efreet look over towards you
As
and call out, or sorry, god damn it! The Azure call out to you and say, "Ah, it's good to see you all again." One of them bows and says, "We have finally brought what has been promised."
I'm. Where is the Grand General?
Well, he's...
In the city?
Yes.
Before we can accept this gift, we must speak with him.
Why is that? The mood of elation that is rampant throughout all the Azure seems to suddenly change as they now look towards each other with confused looks, and it seems like the party atmosphere has been disrupted to some degree.
Well, we wish to be honest with all of you, and, well, we were not able to uphold our part of the bargain.
Nonsense. You mean...
Can I understand? Like, can everyone around understand what he says?
Everyone can understand what I'm saying.
So you
No
guys
one-
don't know what the Efreet, or sorry, what the Azure, got it,
You guys
what
are,
the Azure
you
is
guys are
saying
getting
to him.
a half conversation.
In response to him saying we couldn't uphold it, I will reveal that I no longer have like my arm.
What does that have to do with anything?
It's because we failed.
Middleton just puts a hand up to him. We were not able to defeat an Efreet noble in combat like we agreed on treaty, I suppose.
A bunch of
Tell them
mumbling
it's not
comes
our
up.
fault he ran.
There's a bunch of mumbling that comes emanating from the group. Some of the ones in the back shout, "What's wrong with your friend?" And another one calls out and he says to you, "Then what good would you be as allies against the Efreet if you could not best them?"
And that's why we wish to speak with the Grand General. It would appear as though we are not able to assist you like we thought. We
I
do
am his
not
official.
wish-
You speak to me and I will carry your words to him.
Okay, then. Can you speak for him as well?
Depends on what
Not
words
in
are to
a
be exchanged.
just in a sense of the general mood of which he will receive these words. As I have been saying, I do not. We have not upheld our part of the bargain, so naturally we cannot accept such a gracious and spectacular gift as you have brought before us. If the Azure wish to continue some kind of agreement with our city, we would be willing to discuss it, but at the same time would understand if you wish to forego any further relations.
Shock seems to spread throughout the group, and another one calls out, says, We upheld our part of the bargain and built you this magnificent machine. And this is how you repay us? With failure?
Could you not use this magnificent machine for yourself? Your efforts are not in vain.
I'm gonna roll for some intelligence for the Azure here.
Look,
Can they
Military,
not-
tell them about the cats and the alarms and the
One of
other
them calls out
genies.
again.
It's not our fault.
He says,
Borak.
you used us just to get into the city.
That was not. We attempted to slay an Efreet.
Where's
We-
your
we
proof?
did.
Your friend's strange arm? A trick.
If you were to, send someone into the Brass City, or there would be news of an Efreet who had lost a great fortune, a noble Efreet. We set loose unto an Efreet's house a set of thieves to steal from them as a distraction as we attempted to defeat him in combat, although we were not able to as we had to flee.
Murmuring
greatly
suddenly
wounded.
begins to rise throughout the group, and they all
Okay, we'll
turn to
talk
one
real
another
quick.
and start to speak, like whispering from one
Mhm.
person to another.
Would a weapon have any evidence of fighting in a freed?
Probably not.
Okay.
As they
Oh,
all murmur to themselves, do you guys say
I
anything
raise my
else?
hand actually, and I say, one moment actually, I did come back with 2 souvenirs from an Efreet. So I take out that sack of 200 platinum. I'm assuming it looks like it might have, like it would have come from, like the sack would have ornate kind of stitching and stuff. By the way, when I'm taking it out of the bag of holding, I'm dumping all of the coins into the bag of holding. I just want the sack.
Okay,
Yes. Smart.
so you pull out the bag. Sure enough, like you mentioned, it is kind of nice. It has like a gold-looking drawstring on it and whatnot. Not something a commoner would use.
I
The
took
man
this
calls
was
out,
filled.
"This is your
this-
proof?"
This is proof that we tried.
I don't see strong proof. That could be anybody's bag.
You think a commoner in the Brass City would have something like this?
No, but I think that a cunning wizard, the one that would take advantage of our great general, could certainly conjure one.
Hold on one moment. I pull out the wand of magic missile. There's this, but this is nothing more than a magical implement. And I look through my bag a little bit more. There's not much that we have to prove to you otherwise. You have our word. The fact that we are telling you the truth now shows that we wish not to trick you.
Make a persuasion check, please.
Hmm. Let's see here. Persuasion.
Oh no.
That's a solid 5.
Oh, great.
One of them speaks to the Azure that has done most of the talking at the head of the group here, and says, "Sir, there has been word that one of the Efreet was attacked in the city." The one that's hearing this, though, turns to your group after hearing this and says, "I do not believe that you were the ones who did this.
Why?
You have not proven yourselves to be trustworthy.
How so? We are telling you the truth now. Why would we tell you that we failed if not to be honest and forthright with you?
You seek to back out from your agreement.
We
That's
do
what
not
you
wish
want.
We do not wish to back out from the agreement. I said if you wished to continue relations with us in our city, we would be more than willing to find some common ground, and that I wish to speak with the general.
So you still believe you are able to kill one of the noble Efreet and uphold your end of the bargain?
We are not entirely sure of that. I look to the group.
So if you
We would
cannot do
try.
that, then it is broken.
What does he want us to do?
He wants us to uphold our part of the bargain and defeat an Efreet.
Well, I would have. He's a coward. He ran.
Yes. Voronk, yes. I look to Darren. To Darren, you what do you say?
There's
Do you think that we are able to defeat an Efreet? I truly do not know.
I don't think so, no. Not unless one showed up by them like they did when they were at Volu.
Even though the Azur cannot understand your other party members, one of them seems to read what Dudarin is saying, or maybe just the look on his face, the acceptance of defeat, when he calls out. So that's how it is it? Not so mighty. I'll carry your words back to the great general.
Would you be willing to deliver a message for me to the 2 human wizards who remain in your city? I ask this not as a strong ally, as we have not proven ourselves to be, but just as one being to another.
He seems incredibly reluctant, but eventually nods to you.
Okay, I'm just gonna write out on a piece of paper real quick. Maverin and Westry, we have returned from the Brass City and come bearing the supplies you seek, as well as a way into the city. This is in common, by the way. Come to Volu as soon as possible. And I'll also write throw the whole coin thing that we came up with a little while back.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna just kind of roll it up and hand it to him.
Right. He takes the thing and then throws it into a little scroll case that he has here attached to his belt. And then he makes a motion towards his men, who start to heave this incredibly large contraption and pull it away. He says, goodbye.
I say, I apologize. I say I'm deeply sorry and regretful that we are not able to prove ourselves to you. If we are in any capacity in the future, we would like to, perhaps, but we understand. And I'm just going to give a deep kind of bow.
He gives you a bit of a humph and heads off. The Azur disappear down the city streets.
Well, that went well.
I believe
What?
as well as
Actually-
it could have gone.
I don't know what they were saying, but we're not dead.
That is a welcome surprise.
They must have heard of our exploits in town and that cowardly Efreet.
I am regretful that we were not able to uphold our part of the bargain. The Azur would have made good allies. I only hope that Maverin and Westry return to the town as soon as possible.
Perhaps it's for the best, given that prophecy.
Perhaps. When we get back in, to the guards on duty, I explained to them in great detail, very slowly, and even bothered to write it down, the process by which Maverin and Westry will return.
Sounds good. You tell them the coin trick, and they seem to understand. They don't ask questions about the portal either. You can tell it's on their minds just by the looks on their faces, but they just let it be.
I'm gonna say, do you have any questions about the portal?
I don't know, sir. I understand the coin trick.
Okay. You look confused, or at least worried.
What was with that hand and the bell?
Those were allies we were trying to get from the other side, although we were not able to secure them. They were friendly, although now they are rather indifferent towards us. They are not a threat.
Judean, perhaps we should speak with Vara and let him know the full situation going on so that he may brief the guards.
The two
Yes,
guards
I'll-
nod towards you in acknowledgement, Meneltern, but not before
Mhm.
one of them gulps audibly.
I shake my head a little bit.
I will speak to Vara soon.
Okay. They retake their posts.
As we leave, it's like I'll just tell him, it's like, don't let it worry you too much.
Saying that to the guards?
Yeah.
Okay. They nod in your direction and head off back down there, hopefully not fearing too much something leaping from the portal or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as you guys
Um,
step outside, you see, as you make your way from that little hut that hides off the place, a great deal of greenery that blossoms around your city. Small blades of grass push out from the otherwise barren ground, and you see what looks like small trees which have grown a total of about a foot high, just little saplings that are beginning to grow out almost everywhere around. You see Jack is
Meneltern-
nearby, and he runs over towards you with his guards.
Hello, Jack.
What's going on?
Well, we got a unicorn on the council, and the unicorn said that they would help the town under one one stipulation, being that we accept the forest as our like walls and canopy or something like that.
He looks at the
Essentially-
dizzying seeds that pass left and right through the air as you're explaining all of this.
We have garnered the protection of the forest and the aid of a unicorn. In return, we have, in quotes, Meneltern will say, accepted the forest.
Yes, we're forest people now. Get used to it.
He looks at you and he says, I'm not sure if I'm used to any of this, Vorak, but another guardsman told me there was noises from, down below. What?
Ah, the
That-
Azure came, bearing their end of the agreement. I let
You
them know
didn't do
that
yours. Or we didn't
Yes.
do ours.
I let them know that we were unable to uphold that, and they reluctantly returned to the city to extend that word to their general. I also left them with a message for Mavern and Westry.
You don't fear that they'll hurt them or anything, do you?
Oh no, not at all. I see the Azure as, well, indifferent to us at this point. Perhaps a little frustrated, but I do believe they always thought we were weak.
Scratching his chin for a moment.
Speak for
Jack
yourself there,
nods.
Mendel.
It wasn't a personal insult, Vorak.
So what now? He says as he
Well-
looks around and stares as all these things are falling about the place, and slowly everything turns to green.
Deal with the spire.
I have I've not seen any of them, nor have I received any sort of letter like last time. Are you riding out to meet them?
Perhaps. That may save the town and our own lives, but
Riding across the entirety of Skyfall is not something I wish to do.
The spire is not exactly down the road, that's for certain.
when Mavern and Westry get here, we will speak more of it.
Jack nods, and then he says, well, I'm gonna go tell some of the townspeople not to freak out.
I
a
have
good
some. I sent some guards to go ahead and do that already.
Good work. Yeah, he nods to you and turns around and leaves.
I do have to pop out for just a second, guys. I'll be right back.
Sure, let's take a 5-minute break then.
Sweet.
Back in a moment.
Maybe a heart race so that kind of freet slip. God damn it.
Oh god.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You know what? We kept doing it the last time too. I think I started calling them Igni instead of Azure, and then I think other people started calling them Igni. So
Vampire
it's just
people.
been like a shit show of those things.
I mean, Igni's fine. Because that's not something we know wants to kill us.
Hey, question: if he had shown some of that platinum, would the platinum have had anything on it that
No, it's just
defied
coin.
that it was okay?
Yeah, there isn't really like a minting or anything. Plus, because it's the city of brass, they would have coin from like pretty much
All over
everywhere.
the place.
So it would just look like a mishmash of this and that.
Yeah, we really
Also-
have nothing to-
We should probably find a way back to that shop because like
We have a way
We
back
had-
to the shop.
we had all this money, and we got a bag of holding, which is great, but it doesn't help us fight any.
We have 2,000 gold in platinum, and we also have a teleportation scroll to the shop. Or to the Brass City? What is it to the Brass City?
I don't think we should go back
No.
to Brett City.
No.
Not collectively.
I think we should give the money to Maverick and Westry and let them talk to the magic shoppy guy who is very interested in speaking with them.
I'll have to add another god to the list.
Oh god.
I'll be right back.
So, that went better than expected.
For now, I guess, as long as they're not too pissed.
I think they just think we're weak and shitty, but I think they always thought that.
I don't like them thinking of me as weak and shitty though.
That's not a problem for Mental Tiern. Mental Tiern always knew that he wasn't physically strong.
So we're not gonna go over to these wizards, right? Like that's death.
Right. And that's the end of the Lucky Bastard. See everybody in season 2.
Wandered off into the woods and were never seen from again.
I think Maverick and Westry might have answers.
Said they'd know more about it than we would.
Mm-hmm. We will see, however, we will. I'm actually gonna go get a snack. I'll be right back.
All right. I need to actually hit something with my tentacle arm to find how much damage it does.
Does 10 damage.
Is that legit or just you giving me a number?
It was a bad joke.
I thought so, but I had to be sure. I'd take a consistent 10 damage.
That'd be a pretty good tentacle arm.
Especially if I can do it from like 15 feet away.
Just waiting on Charlie here.
Yep. Hey, Lucian, have you looked at like the common magic items yet in Xanathars?
I
I've
didn't
heard
think
about them.
Xanathars came out yet.
It's not.
Oh.
Quote, end quote.
Ah.
Damn you, WikiLeaks.
I mean,
Damn you,
I-
Julian Assange. What's his name?
If I wanted to, I could have gone and got a physical copy yesterday.
Ooh, really?
Special edition, anyway.
Oh, okay. I have that
Is the
pre-ordered on
21st?
Amazon, so should be coming in soon.
Well, my
But
body
there's
is ready
a-
if yours is.
Before we start, there's a magic item that's like a cane
Mm-hmm.
that magically transforms into a sword, and after it transforms, it stops being magic.
Hmm.
I think is hilarious.
A one-time sword.
Yeah.
I mean, it turns into a sword, and then it's always a sword.
Hmm.
You can never turn it back.
So like one time use like secret weapon.
Yeah, basically. I just think it'd be like a really funny thing to sell to someone for way too much.
Ah, this item, it turns into from a cane into a sword. And then back again? Sure. Some shifty shop owner just never mentions that it's a one-time use.
He's like, it can. But I'm ready whenever.
Alrighty.
Ready to face the music. Apparently our actions do have consequences.
Who would have thunk?
Who would've
Mhm.
thought? So, with that, Jack runs off, and the rest of you four are left here with the city all around you being transformed. What do you want to do?
Do you all want to just take a seat and watch?
Yes.
Yes.
I would.
We haven't had
Let's,
much time to do nothing in a while.
Should we head to the edge of the city? It might be, well, a more breathtaking view.
I say we just head for the top of the hill.
Sort of like 10 feet away.
Yeah, basically. Well, we have to go around.
It's like you just look up, you're like, let's go there. Okay.
So, how beautiful is it?
It's very beautiful. The constant flow here of like these little petal-like things continues to drift from the forest towards you, and slowly and gradually the city becomes greener and greener as little plants grow. Like even from your perch up here on top of the hill, you can see like a little rock is pushed to the side as a little like green sprig begins to slowly press its way out of the ground and everything. It's really something. You don't know how long it's going to take until you have an actual forest, but,
Mm-hmm.
well, it seems that one of your council members is being pretty proactive.
Mm-hmm. I wonder who.
says
Should
Lana.
Should we go speak with the druids?
Yeah, we can go see if anyone's by the temple.
From where you are seated up on this hill, you can see the temple there, and off in the distance by the temple there are some different like robed figures that would normally be about the place that are wandering excuse me, goddamn, and using druid craft to like make the plants nearby grow faster and everything.
Huh?
Oh, does it
Well,
mean we can have tree houses and shit?
maybe.
That'd be cool.
Now, are you guys gonna sit and watch for a little bit and just rest?
Meneltier will. He'll probably get bored pretty quickly and then just hang out by the portal to kind of wait for Mavern and Westry.
Sure.
Yeah, I just kind of want to see all a good bit of the white turn to green.
I'll probably stare and
Yeah.
wonder for a while.
I'm just gonna spend a few minutes and then head off to his tent.
Sure. A few minutes go by, and Ivan, eventually you head off away from the group as they're seated there on the hill. And Meneltier, growing bored, you eventually leave as well and travel down to the portal.
Does this now make the Elfwood part of Valoo?
Oh. While you're waiting there, and the two of you are still watching up on the hill, are you up to anything there, Ivan?
Yeah, so I'm gonna head back to his tent. And after a bit, attempt to cast the sending spell, contact his brother. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna open Steam and see if your brother is around.
He's not,
God damn it.
fortunately.
Okay.
Damn it, Yuri. This would have been cool. You made it not cool.
There's hope. There's hope. He's online, but he's snoozed. He's probably not around. He's probably at school.
Yeah.
Boy. God
School's like for losers.
damn. Okay. Your spell works. Finally, granted the powers of divine nature, allowing you to send a message across the vast expanses of world here. Yes, you do contact your brother. What you say to him and what he says to you will, I'd say, remain in the tent there. But you can take that as you will, and he would obviously be very, very happy to hear from you finally.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so like going with that, it does work.
It does work, yes.
Okay.
You managed to contact Yuri. He tells you in very brief amount, because the sending spell doesn't allow for much, that he's actually traveling to the west coast, and that his party, a bunch of crazy people, is leading him on some sort of strange quest that he doesn't really agree with, and he wants to come and find you.
Oh.
Oh boy.
So with that info, knowing that your brother is alive and out there, what do you want to do?
Okay. I'm gonna begin packing his things up.
Okay.
Oh my.
So you take one thing after another, finding out that the only piece of your family that remains is still out there somewhere, and start to gather all of your stuff. Meanwhile, down at the portal, a rift opens up. Oh shit. Charlie, down by the portal.
I'm back.
You stand and wait around, and a coin pops through the portal there. A guardsman looks over at you.
I immediately go to open the portal.
The other two help you and move the thing aside. When stepping through, you watch as Mavrin and Westry come into the room.
Good to see you.
Came as fast as we could. You got the things.
Yeah, I take the bag of holding and I put it on the ground and I open it up and I reach in and pull out the chest and I plop it in front of them.
While he's opening this to look and stare into its contents, and as he starts rifling through it and making sure everything's there, he says to you, Yeah, I don't know if the Azar are really people we want to stay with anymore. I don't know what you did, but
What happened?
well, when the letter was delivered, it was delivered by a bunch of angry people that looked like they didn't really want us there anymore.
Okay. Well, we failed to uphold our part of the bargain. We told them that we didn't know whether or not we would be able to fulfill it. We offered, well, perhaps some other way, except that did not comply with what they wanted, so we were at a standstill. How the general will take that remains to be seen.
Well, I heard yelling that came from the palace
Hmm.
while we grabbed what we could and went through the streets.
Well. Oh, I almost forgot. Well, apart from that, the being from whom we received all these items, wished to speak with you.
What kind of being?
I believe he is a wizard of some sort, hiding behind some kind of magical illusion.
Sounds like the trustworthy sort.
Well, he sold us all of this and this bag of holding.
It's all here.
At the very
Thank you,
least,
by the
he's
way.
willing to do. At the very least, he's willing to do business. Regardless, it did appear that he knew a bit about you two and was interested in the things you were buying. He asked that I give you this, a teleportation scroll to the Brass City, and if you wished to go there to find the magic shop. That's the name of the shop.
His eyes light up when you say this, and he goes, ah. He looks over and nods towards Westry, and she nods in his direction. He turns back to you and says, well, how are things with the wizards?
The Wizard Spire sent a messenger to us with a letter asking that we come to Soulsland to answer for our crimes.
And I trust that you didn't send anyone to Soulsland.
No, we didn't send anybody to Soulsland,
Good.
although I'm not entirely sure how we're going to deal with this. We do need to deal with the wizards.
Well, I'll give you a piece of my mind. I think me and Westry here are not exactly welcome with the Azar. And while we are welcome here, I fear that something might take us in our sleep. So I might actually take you up on this. And he shakes the teleportation scroll in his hand.
If before you go, I do ask that you stay for just a small while, and speak to me and my party. I believe there were some things that we were wondering if you could do for us when you go to the Brass City.
Oh, I suppose a favor for a favor. You've been very helpful so far.
But I do wish to hear your peace of mind about what to do about the wizards.
Well, you said the note asked for one of you to go to Soulsland?
It simply said that we must come to Soulsland to answer for our crimes.
As you're speaking, perhaps related or unrelated to the contents of this conversation, he opens up the scroll and gives it a brief look and nods as he sees things are in order. Turns back towards you and he says, well, at least they're willing to talk. They didn't bomb you all in your sleep.
Would you suggest that we go to Soulsland?
No.
Oh.
If you travel there, there's no hope for you. You'll be on their ground in their city. But diplomacy might not be completely lost to them.
So you suggest we stay here and send some sort of correspondence to them?
You didn't reply to the last letter?
Not yet. I mean, this was only, well, a matter of less than a day ago.
Oh. Well, maybe you could send something back towards them. I don't know. All I know is that the fact they have not declared war on this little commune you've built is it's a step in the right direction. As for us, I don't know if this is really the place we want to be.
Indeed. Would you mind waiting down here for a short while? I do wish to retrieve my party members.
He nods towards you.
Thank you. And I'm gonna head up and just gather everybody.
Okay. You get the two from the hill and find that Ivan is
Where's-
missing.
Where's Ivan?
I think he went back to the tent.
Did he have anything? Which one of you wanted to speak with Mavern and Westry?
Wasn't that you?
Didn't you say you wanted something from the Brass City?
Well, I figured if we're going to end up fighting wizards, we get something to help fight people that can use magic.
We shouldn't jump immediately to fight.
We must
Yes,
be prepared, though.
We must be prepared, although I think diplomacy is going to be our best option.
Well, you are the wizard, so I'll have to defer this one to you.
Oh, does that make me the wizard expert?
Well, of course.
Metaltune just shakes his head frustrated a little bit, confounded by Vorok's definition of expert.
I wonder if that makes me the hero expert.
Yeah, he
Jen,
looked at
do
the
you
heroes.
have any words for them? Anything you wish to gather from them, or
I can't think of anything at the moment, but I'm sure there's something.
if you wish to speak with them, they're down below by the portal. I'm going to get Jack.
Right.
Well, perhaps there could be some way that we could keep in contact with them, if at all possible. A contact in the Brass City is never a bad thing.
Perhaps.
Now,
Not a bad idea, Vorok.
at this point, you've gathered your things, Ivan. Everything is where it should be. Your backpack is full, you have supplies, and you know the location of your brother as well. He's far off towards the west. Days and days on the road. Though, a road that you have traveled before on your way towards Valu. What do you want to do?
Gonna head back up to the hill.
Okay.
See if everyone's there.
As you approach, you see what looks like Meneltirn standing, giving some sort of explanation to the two seated there, staring over and watching as greenery begins to surround and revitalize the city. Ivan, you return to everybody else. Ivan looks like he is well equipped for travel. His backpack is rather full, and all of his additional gear that normally lays about the tent is now strapped to his person as he comes back to you.
Are you going somewhere, Ivan?
I am. Just
I-
got word that my brother is alive and apparently somewhere to the west.
You're leaving.
Hmm?
But you're on the council.
I'm
Can't leave.
I'm going to leave this to you two. I'm going to get Jack.
Right. Well, Ivan, I do understand. It's not exactly safe to wander alone.
I think I'll be alright. Used to traveling on my own.
But what of Valu?
Well, I think everything's actually settled quite nicely now. We have the council set up, the druids seem to be stable allies, the Azard, are often doing their own thing.
But you're on the council. If you leave, there'll be an uproar. People won't know what to do with themselves.
What do you plan to do when you find your brother?
Well, make sure he's alright. Might head back this way once I find him. Sounded like he might have been kidnapped or something. I'm not really sure.
He was very, very excitedly explaining a bunch of his latest antics, which melded together into a confusing jumble.
I take it you brothers aren't very different.
Oh, very different.
Well, you both have a knack for getting into trouble. Or at least following people that do.
You could say that. Well,
I can't say that
regardless.
I can't say that I want to see you go, Ivan, but I'm not your parent. I can't stop you.
Not my real dad.
I wish I had a brother that didn't want to kill me.
I rest a hand on Vorok's back. There.
I envy you, Ivan.
Well, if I find him again, might bring him back around and introduce you all.
Well, know that you'll always have a place here in Valu.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Hope everything goes well in my absence.
Ivan, if you ever have need of a burly barbarian, just send word.
Before you go, Ivan, here, and I reached him like pack. 'Cause I don't think I ever unequipped myself of anything in the tent. And I take out one of those bucklers I had on my arm. To remember us by.
Oh, thank you, Darren. I'll keep this on me. I'm kind of like strap it to like set on my pack.
Okay.
You know what? I'm gonna take one of the scrolls out of my scroll case, and it's one of the pictures of me as a stone giant, and I'll give it to Ivan.
This was my favorite one.
Take that as well. I'll take it on my pack, the base healing potion I'd gotten.
Okay.
I think you guys might need this more than I will at this point.
I point at you, Darren.
Vorok
No,
don't need no help.
No, Ivan, you're about to head out into winter. For who knows how long. You'll, at the very least, keep that as insurance.
Kind of shrug and put it back in my pack.
Who knows? When you get back, we might have that death laser we were talking about.
I'd love to see it if you did.
We should call it something. We should call it something other than death laser.
Because if it's called a death laser, we're definitely the bad guys.
Are we the
Are
bad
we the bad guys?
Yeah.
No, it's Monday Group.
I try not to
Death
think
laser.
about it, Klaus.
I'll just like stand up and put a hand on Ivan's shoulder. I wish you luck then.
Good luck to all of you as well. I'll like go around and shake everyone's hand.
If you don't come back, make sure to write.
Oh, I think I might be able to keep in touch. We'll see.
I
Well,
don't
safe travels to you, dwarf brother.
Safe travels, friends. Good luck.
All right.
I will turn away at this point. Head out.
The cleric that has been along with your group for some time turns, and all of his stuff begins to wander down the cliff face and eventually head off out past the tents into the cold beyond. He watches green plants grow up beside him here amidst all of the tents, and he starts to disappear off into the distance. Minotaur, you arrive at Jack's, and Relic, I'll have you hang around for a bit. There's actually a thing or two that's going to come up with you. You reach Jack's tent and find Jack outside speaking with some commoners. He finishes his conversation with them and steps towards you.
Jack, would you follow me?
Okay. He starts to walk with you. What is
As
it?
we begin walking, Mavern and Westry have returned. I figured you might be interested in speaking with them before they're off.
Ah. Wait. Before they're off? What happened?
Well, as the Azur seem to want nothing to do with us anymore, and they fear for their safety here in Velu, they intend to take a teleportation scroll that was given to me to the Brass City and test their luck there with a magical friend, I suppose.
He nods and continues to walk with you. Eventually, you reach the lower portion of the cliff and the small shack that leads down below. Up atop on the cliffside, you see not your group, but just the two, Dudairn and Vorak, who sit there and seems to be staring listlessly off into a direction of the wastes.
Are either of you coming? I shout.
Oh, yes, and I'll stand back up and follow them in.
Okay. It's midday by the time that this has come about, and all of you guys head downstairs to meet Westry and Mavrin, who are there.
Well, before you two are off, do you think there's any way that that we could keep in touch? Having contacts in the Brass City might be useful.
Well, I don't know it myself, but there is a sending spell which you could learn. Though that may not work. It's, you know what? Contact across the plains is a difficult thing, Meneltirn.
I understand.
Certainly visit us.
I ask that, well, more so, the if you do intend to visit the magical shop of which I mentioned before, they will likely have anything that you could possibly imagine or desire. Perhaps there is something that you could gather there.
He nods to you and he says, "Well, I don't know, but well, there's plenty in this world that I don't know. Maybe there's something."
As well, to Darren and Vorak, more so Vorak, wished to know if you would, well, what would aid us in a fight against the Spire, if it came to that?
Wards against magic, I would assume. Well, if they do decide to come and attack you, there's no telling what they'll do. It might be wizards that show on your doorstep, or maybe hired soldiers. It's tough to tell.
If we do settle this diplomatically, what could we expect from them?
I don't know what they'll ask. Chances are they're after me, so unless you're gathered here to hand me over, I don't know what you can do.
I look at the party. I don't think so.
No.
I look at Dudairn like wide-eyed, like, is that the plan?
I'm
No,
joking. I'm joking.
No. No, we have no intentions of handing you over or any information about your whereabouts.
I'm gonna roll a intelligence check here for Mavrin and Westry. Westry tugs on Mavrin's shoulder for a second and whispers something to him. And then his face comes alight with an idea. You can practically see the light bulb as it suddenly comes to life. He turns over towards you and he says, "Well, there's one thing. There's one thing we could try. The city of Brass links to everywhere throughout the world. You could tell them the truth."
Tell them that you're in the Brass City.
Yes, and that you don't know where I've gone. Wouldn't be lying.
Which is true.
And we could go anywhere.
You would be comfortable with us saying this?
I think so.
We can give you a few days.
Jack speaks up and says, "How will we know where you are?" And Mavrin shrugs towards him. He looks at you all and says, "Well, this would be goodbye, I suppose."
If you ever need safe harbor, you will find it here in Velu.
Maybe when the wizards have forgotten how angry they are.
Wizards have long memories and hold even longer grudges, I'm afraid.
Well, Let's hope that that's an elven thing, and wizards in the Spire are mostly human.
I suppose we shall see. Good luck
Extends a
on your
hand over
travels.
towards you for a handshake, Metalturn.
Meneltiern will enthusiastically return it.
He shakes your hand and he says, "Good luck out there, Wood Elf. It's been a pleasure knowing you." He turns over towards the rest of you all and shakes your hands as well.
Well, be safe out there, wizards.
They turn, and then with that, there's a casting of a magical scroll. Stepping through, the two fugitive wizards you've been trying to hide disappear into the strange portal leading to the Brass City beyond. You don't know if you'll ever see them again.
All right. Well, I suggest we get ready to send a correspondence to the Spire.
Jack pipes up at this moment. He says, "Say, where's the dwarven fellow? Where's Ivan?"
Oh, about that.
Did you take care of it? You convinced him to stay?
Quite the opposite.
I'm sorry?
His mind is set on finding his brother. I don't think there's any changing his mind.
Meneltiern, as is the normal resolution in this group, puts his head in his hands and just shakes his head. Why on earth do I ever leave anything to the two of you?
I see nothing wrong with it. We aren't in positions to stop him from doing what he wants, and it's his brother, after all.
You didn't even try a little, like, no, please stay, nothing?
You were an only child, weren't you, Menelturn?
The elves aren't a very caring.
Fucking
Race.
destroyed. No survivors.
How much psychic
Hundreds
damage
dead.
is that? It's like- he said that when he finds his brother, he may return. If not, he said he'd keep in contact, at the very least.
Well, I suppose that means we must find someone new to reside in the council space of High Priest.
I have a +3 in religion.
Vorok, do you
Wow.
What
do you
does
actually
that
worship
mean?
a god?
I think we'll be able to find someone to fill that. In the meantime, I suggest we get moving on with sending something to the Spire.
Yes, I think that'd be a good idea, Jack says to you all. He starts to go up the steps.
I follow him. I'll follow him, presumably to his tent.
Okay.
And as we're walking, Meneltiern wants to say to Jack, what do you think the best way to send a correspondence to them is going to be?
I don't know.
They sent a raven or a crow. Do we have any means of doing the same?
There are none trained here. It would have been good to send one back with their
Ah!
bird.
Well, that wouldn't have very well been possible. The second I took the note, it flew away. But I think we may have someone who can help. Perhaps the druids would be
Perhaps
able to...
Ivan could bring it. He's headed that way, isn't he?
Didn't he already leave?
Oh, you could still catch him.
How about we ask the druids if there's any birds in the forest that could deliver a message for us? I think they would be very receptive to the idea, considering, and that Meneltiern just gestures to the seeds and the plant growth.
Well, I suppose that could work as well.
Regardless, let's draft up a letter.
Okay. So, with that, you go ahead and speak with some of the druids. after a brief talk with Kassan, he tells you that yes, they could send a bird to ferry off a message. You merely need to decide what it is that you want to write.
So, we. Well, I guess we'll have to explain why we're not appearing in their court.
Now, given that it's been some time, I would say that evening is coming on, and it's probably over dinner that you guys are discussing exactly what to send. One of the druids, like ravens, seems to sit here by the fireside and waits with a little bit of string here attached to one of its legs that you might put your note there and send it off whenever.
We must let them know that we have information on the two wizards they're looking for, Mavrin and Westry, and that we would be willing to give up that information in return for open diplomatic channel.
What?
Mental Tyrion just shakes his head and looks to Judarin and Jack.
Says that might work.
How do we explain to them why we're not appearing in their court?
There's a winter across the land that would kill us before we got there.
Jack nods at Vorok and says, perhaps they could use their magic to come here. It's not exactly an easy travel for us.
Just like guesstimating is the only thing Dudan can really do. Even if there wasn't winter, how long would it take to travel from Volu to Soulsland?
If it wasn't winter, it would take, let's see, probably about 40 to 50 days.
Oh my god, half a season?
Yeah, it would take. If there wasn't an endless winter, it would take half a season to get there, and I imagine it'll take a full season, if not longer, provided we could even survive the trip.
To be honest, I'm fairly certain the wizards have some sort of trick.
To them, we'll write this then. Who should we address it to? To whom it may concern, I suppose?
Do you remember what was on the letter they sent us?
You remember it said the High Council of Wizards.
Probably to them.
To the High Council of Wizards. We can not attend your court you are requesting, as we would perish in the winter attempting to get there. We do, however, have information regarding the rogue wizards, Mavrin and Westry, that we would be willing to hand over in return for open diplomatic channels between yourself and the High Council of Volu.
Council of Nine.
The Council of Nine.
You scribble a bunch of ink out. Okay. So with that, you have this letter ready. Are you going to send that?
I look to everybody else. Does this seem adequate?
Here's hoping, Jack says to you.
Should we all sign it?
Oh, that would be rather cumbersome to get everybody to sign it. I don't think
Well, I guess we can't have Ivan sign it anymore, so.
And I don't think the unicorn would like to be disturbed about this.
I'll sign it.
We should create some type of seal for Volu.
This is a good idea.
Okay. So, you guys don't have a seal right now? Do any of you guys have ideas?
Perhaps the calligrapher could do something for us.
The calligrapher.
Okay.
I
knew he was useful.
I take this paper that I've written on and I say, that might be the greatest idea you've ever had, Vorok. And we
To the calligrapher!
We call for the calligrapher to come and rewrite this message and to also develop a seal for Volu.
Okay. He will abide. As far as this the actual symbol, though, that's going to be your town's, he asks, well, surely you don't mean for me to just come up with something on the spot.
No, rather
Do you have any ideas?
create what we envision. I
Um,
imagine it must be something
Something-
centralized around the forest.
Something that, like the embodiment of the word haven.
I think perhaps a tree encircled by 9, perhaps, circles or
Crowns or dots?
crowns. Something of that nature.
He draws up a couple of little sketches for you and ends up showing one that looks like a large tree surrounded by 9 little, like, diamond shapes. Like this?
I look to the group.
Looks fine to me.
He goes
Okay,
ahead and
perhaps-
inscribes it in the bottom right of the letter, rolls the thing up, handing it back to you.
Thank you very much. You have, well, done us a great service. And
I will also hand him 10 silver.
Okay.
okay,
Says,
I'm
There's no need, Council Valu, but I thank you. And he takes the silver and puts it in a coin pouch on his belt.
There's no need. Why'd he take it? Whatever.
You don't
So
reject the gift from Dudarin.
rolling that up, we attach it to the bird, and presumably the druids told it where it needs to go.
Okay. Once it's on the bird, it takes off with a flight, a single caw before it leaps from your arm and heads off towards the spire. You don't know how long it's going to take. And table talk, unless there's something that you wish to do here, I propose that we do a bit of a fast forwarding of days. Would you guys be okay with this?
I would be okay with this. Meneltiern has nothing he would like to do. Can there be something that Meneltiern can do in the time that we fast forward?
Sure.
Could he, throughout the town, search for anybody he thinks might be able to learn magic?
Search
As
for
he
people
wishes.
who can learn magic.
So people who would be, because being a wizard, you have to study and learn magic. That's how that works, right? It's not like an innate ability, although that helps.
Long hours and gradual
So,
learning of cantrips.
Meneltiern
etc.
wants to kind of take a stock of everybody in the city to
Okay.
gather who would be most adept at learning magic and kind of draw up a short list of people he might wish to recruit, I guess for lack of a better word,
Sure.
to a wizard's guild of
Okay.
sorts.
I'm gonna roll luck to see what we've got here, and I want you to go ahead and roll persuasion.
Persuasion?
Yes.
Let's see here. Oof, that's a 11.
Okay. Unfortunately,
11.
of all the people here, those that agree to come with you
Mm-hmm.
don't seem to have it. And the amount of time that it takes you to get them to just understand very basic magic is so laborious that you feel it would take years for them to learn but the simplest of spells. Whether or not you wish to continue down this road or not is up to you, but it seems that that's what you've got.
At the moment.
Forok, what would you do in the next few days here, if anything? I should
Probably
also
nothing
mention that
particular.
trees grow throughout the whole place here.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
probably just be exploring like the new town
Okay.
and just marveling at all the trees and just kind of getting a lay of the land, I guess.
Sure. Make
Does-
a perception
does
roll
the-
for me.
Does the heat get trapped in like the canopy?
Oh, wow.
20.
It seems that the words of this High Lord of the Forest were more than just eloquent and poetic in nature. The trees grow together in patterns, some of them winding and using vines to bind themselves, creating actual walls and gradual districts, cordoning off different parts and leaving what looks like a forest gate by the time that the third or fourth day rolls around. Every now and then, as you look and stare at the little bits of sunlight that sometimes come peering through the leaves above, you'll see what looks like the unicorn's ethereal form, sometimes moving as though it's phasing in and out of the actual tree walls of the city and watching over the people inside.
Every time I see it go by, I'll just kind of give it that nod, like, that'll do.
Dude, Darren, what
sorry,
would you
but
do
that's-
over the next few days?
So that's just really fucking cool.
How
to me.
receptive are the people to this?
There is a very small group of a couple of people that leave right at the beginning and who
Okay.
just think this is a superstitious nonsense and nothing good can come of it. And everybody else is pretty much living like they're in a fairy tale, and they not only can't really believe it, but they think that there's something amazing and divine that's going on here. Some of them take it as a sign that the gods have not left them, and you hear rumor and murmur among some people that they think there's a unicorn that lurks within the city and watches over them.
Sweet.
These can't be verified, obviously.
It can't be verified.
So over the time skip, Dude Aaron would probably be working with, like, the guards
Sure, okay.
and VAR and stuff. Like, it's kinda like after like these districts are kind of divided up. Like, okay, here's how patrols will work and this and this, and probably training, just trying to get used to my arm and stuff.
Okay. Ivan, you find out that your brother is caught up in some sort of quest right now, and every now and then you send a sending spell to hear from him, and he responds back, giving you updates. You find out that he's kind of stuck in a place right now near the Great Peak Mountains. If he stays there with your days of constant progress, you might actually be able to reach him before he starts moving towards the west. And if possible, you'll finally be able to see your brother again. Now, over these few days, while you go ahead and start working with the guard Dudairn, I want you to make a persuasion roll as well. And since you're the hero of the town, make that with advantage.
Cool, get that sick +1.
Oh,
Alright, so 15.
you manage to bolster the guard. There's not a lot of people to pull from, but a few extra souls come up, and soon you've managed to get the task force here up into proper numbers. Not that you really need it too much. There are petty squabbles that happen in town, but things are pretty peaceful, and the cities that you remember before the long winter were definitely more rife with problems amongst the different classes and whatnot. But this is a strange sort of paradise in a weird.
Well, I mean, we don't really have classes yet.
Yeah,
Now,
don't worry.
days pass. Eventually, as night and day come and go, it's not a letter that returns to you, but instead a man wearing wizard robes and a pointed hat who shows up on a white steed in front of the gates here and calls out for you, summoning what he says is the High Council of Velu. And he addresses...
Council of Nine.
Sorry, Council of Nine. And he addresses you all saying that he has come from Soulsland for diplomatic relations.
Okay. I.
You would
Darren,
all be
do
notified by the guard that
Mhm.
there is this
Should
person at
we-
the gate.
let him in, or do we meet him outside?
I say we meet him at the gate,
And
and
bring
then
him in?
we. I just don't really have a council chamber yet, do we?
Did a council chamber develop in the trees?
Could we use the temple?
Sure.
There we go.
We'll use the temple for now.
And I'm gonna go ahead and whatever guard alerts me, I'm gonna tell him to gather the council at the temple.
Gather the council at the temple. Okay.
So
Guards run
get
off at your
Lana,
word.
get Jack, get Vara.
Now,
Okay.
you are missing
It's
your high
on.
priest. Does somebody
And
fill that
Redmond.
position, or do you leave that as a council of 8?
Well,
Oh,
I mean, we don't know if the unicorn's going to show up either, so
I suppose. Let's
We just-
assume he does.
we can say it's like he's off on a personal matter.
I whisper to Judarin, do we let Vorok be the high priest?
He can be like a
He-
representative of the high priest,
there we go.
at least for now.
Yeah,
Nice.
just for now. Vorok, we have a very important mission for you.
Oh, what's that?
You will be Ivan's representative at the council meeting.
Yes, I can do that.
Yes, we would only ask the best person for the job.
Of course.
I mean, you are a unicorn expert and all that.
Well, I learned a bit about religion when I was brought up by my dwarven family.
Yes. Let's head to the gates then.
Okay. As you head towards the gates, if I'm not misunderstanding, everybody else is coming with you, including Lana and Resmer, etc. Or are they going to wait
so
back at the council chambers?
Meneltirn, myself, Vorok, and Dudarin, we're gonna go to the gates, and then everybody else would be at the temple waiting, and then we would bring the, I don't know, Grand Wizard, Archmage, I don't know what the fuck he is.
I mean, it'd be kind of neat if we just turned the temple into a council chamber.
As you
For
get
now,
over
that's
towards the
kind of how it's
gates,
going.
you see what looks like a member of the temple who stands here in a set of robes, and it's his hand placed on the side of the door that suddenly causes the whole thing to whir into life, and vines begin to move and pull all of their own volition as the gates begin to open, and you see this rider you've been told of. He calls out towards you, his voice being amplified by some source as he says, "I was told that there would be 9.
They await in the temple to discuss these matters further.
He trots forward, and as he gets
Follow us.
closer, he looks up, left and right, as he stares at your strange city, and slowly makes his way in. He does not hop from his horse, but he does let you guide him.
So we lead him to the temple. Meneltirn isn't going to say anything.
Okay?
Vorok demands he gets off his horse. There's no riding
No,
in Valoo.
June. You may stay on
No.
your horse.
You have no such rules, Vorok.
I made the rule now. He follows
You're merely
along.
acting as a representative.
As you guys lead him further and further, you eventually get towards the temple, where you can see that in different little chairs here that everybody else has gathered. He hops from his horse finally at this moment and steps forward, his staff in hand. You can see that his red robes that he has are incredibly well adorned with different, they look like badges here and there and ribbons and things like that. If each one of them is some form of accomplishment, this man has many. As he gets closer and closer, he eventually turns towards you four and says, "Well, is this your council of 9?
Wait, you said the 4 of us?
Yeah, because you guys are going along with him, right? So he turns towards you four, having seen the rest of you that are all in the temple.
I don't like this. Does this guy seem
Wait.
shady?
There's only 3 of us.
Or sorry, 3, my bad.
How shady does this guy seem? Should I be worried about him?
Make an insight
Could you-
check.
Could you please take a seat? And Meneltirn kind of like gestures for him to like give him his
16?
name.
Looking at him, it seems as though he keenly watches everything Vorok, and yes, you get a definite feeling of distrust from this man. You think that he plots against you, though exactly how you don't know. Maybe as conversation progresses, you'll get a better idea, but there's certainly a bad air about him.
Meneltirn. Psst.
Meneltirn walks over to Vorok's shout whisper.
While that's happening, the wizard steps over towards one of the free chairs and waves his hand. A cushion appears on its top, and he sits down on it.
I'll take my seat as well. Probably at the head of the table. I don't know.
Yes, Vorok.
He's going to try to kill us.
No.
Yes, he is. Trust me. He's
I-
going to try
it
to
was-
kill us.
Vorok, are you very familiar with sarcasm? I'm very well aware that he wants us dead. We outnumber him at this moment. If we need to, we will fight back, but let's not get to that. Let's
He
hope
raises
that
his arm to cast a spell. I'm going to chop it off.
don't act so hastily, Vorok.
Keep an eye on him, though.
We will deal with the wizards, and hopefully some kind of diplomatic, at least understanding can be reached.
Well, I hope so. Just be careful.
I will. And I'll go to take my seat. Who's here? Is everybody here?
Everybody is here.
Okay,
Oh, even the
except for
unicorn?
the unicorn.
The unicorn's chair is empty here. And as you all seat, eventually, the thing seems to appear. Stepping from around the side of the temple corner here, the thing approaches and doesn't actually really enter the temple, just sort of stands on the fence area nearby, clearly able to see everybody, and everybody able to see it.
I sit as in the way of the unicorn as I can, so if it tries to cast something on it, I will deflect it.
Be the
I
spell
will
shield.
take the blow.
Okay, alright, yeah, you prep, knowing full well that this wizard is up to something shady.
So,
And
as we
he-
all sit,
He
Oh,
exclaims,
sorry.
like, my, as he looks over and sees the thing draw close and eventually stop from beyond the fence.
I'll nod to the unicorn. Well, we're all here. Shall we begin?
Yes. I come here on behalf of the High Wizards of the Spire, the supreme authority in Soulsland, the greatest magisters in all of the realm. It's come to our attention that some members of this city have purposefully obfuscated the finding of 2 fugitive wizards that have escaped our grasp.
It wasn't until after everything had transpired that we learned that they were fugitives. We simply thought they were just 2 others that had come to this town seeking safety.
Is that so? He stares and looks at all the different members here.
Meneltiern will nod.
Looking around, he says, I'm not sure I believe you.
Well, perhaps this could earn your trust. We know the location of the 2 wizards.
Yes, you said something about that in your correspondence. Where are they?
They were in the
Well,
Brass City.
William!
The Brass City, you say?
That is the last we know of them.
Meneltiern looks over to Jack. I don't know how seething rage can come past like a mask, but I feel like it does. I feel like Jack understands.
He lifts a hand from, like, he's got his arms crossed here, and he sort of lifts a hand in your direction, like a calm down sort of gesture. But otherwise, he stays completely still as he continues to watch things unfold.
That is all we know of them, and that they're fugitives. We do not know why, and we do not know where they've gone outside of the Brass City.
How can you prove that they have traveled to the Brass City? And furthermore, you are still guilty for the death of 2 agents that we had looking for them.
They came here aggressively. They attacked 2 of our citizens, committing 2 murders. A life for a life. I see nothing wrong.
Lives of your common folk could be measured only as a fraction of what those
Not
two
in
wizards.
our land, wizard.
Then you do not understand true value. Like I said, how can you prove that they have traveled to the Brass City?
I look to Metaltiern and Jack and Vorok.
I give him like the finger up, like hold on, and I'm gonna lean over to Jack, and I'm gonna say, whispering, "Do we tell them about the portal? I'm assuming they already know."
I would like everybody to please roll perception.
How do I have to roll for whisper?
Actually, don't roll, because you're doing the whispering. The rest of you can roll.
An 11.
14.
14. Okay. The two of you watch as the wizard intently stares at the whispering from across the way here. Jack looks over towards you and says, "I'm not certain that's a good idea. I leave that to you.
Wizard,
Yes?
first, do you have a name that I should call you?
Simply call me an envoy. My name is not important, nor do I intend to give it.
Then you shall remain wizard. What is it that those two agents you sent to us were?
I've asked you to provide proof for your claims, and now you wish to know more about
I
my
simply
business.
wish to know what you already know, lest I divulge unimportant information and waste your time.
The wizards are wanted for stealing from the spire. That's all you need to know. The items that they have, I intend to get back. If we cannot, then their lives will suffice and justice shall be dispensed.
Well, then I shall say this. What you need to know is thus. We have confirmation that the two wizards have fled to the Brass City, of which we shall not disclose, lest you be willing to divulge in some more information on your end.
What information could I offer that would get you to give me this proof?
What do you know about our city?
I see that it is one with the forest. He stares over at the unicorn from beyond the fence there. He says, I also know that this city was swallowed up in great flame some time ago. Done an admirable job rebuilding it, though I see none of the old character of this town on display.
The old character is what brought the fire.
Perhaps, but it is unimportant. How many questions must I answer until you finally show me this proof? I grow tired, and I tell you that you negotiate from a disadvantaged position. Do you
Or
know
so
what
you think.
powers the Spire has? I see
You
your
do not know what
scarf.
powers we hold. Additionally, the information you seek is as follows. We have had talks with the Azur. Are you familiar with them?
I know these creatures.
The two wizards fled to the Azur's city, laying in the Plane of Fire, of which we were able to track them down to. However, the Azur informed us that they had fled to the Brass City.
Do you have confirmation?
The only confirmation lies with the Azur.
As far as we know, long ago the Azur were used to build the city, and they had portals that could allow easy access.
We also found amongst their papers a few lists of, how do you put it, components of which they were searching, the nature of which would likely only have been found there. Further proof that they likely fled to the Brass City, although the Azar can affirmatively tell you that.
Surely, you expected me. Why is it that you have not spoken with the Azar already to have the proof? You would send
How do
me
you
to go
mean?
speak to them?
Well, I'm sorry? The proof is that the wizards were there and that they then left. The proof is only by word of mouth of the Azar. They told us, and now we are telling you. If you do not believe us, you can, well, ask the Azar yourself.
I don't intend to go and speak with creatures from the plane of fire. I came here, and you should have had this ready.
There's not much more ready that we can have for you.
You could have grabbed testimony from the Azar.
Your letter did not give us much instructions. You just accused us of crimes. How were we to know what you wanted when you showed up?
We figured that would be inferred from the contents of the writing. It's clear that we assumed too much.
You come at us with accusations that are unfounded, as your wizards had accumulated crimes by the time they arrived here. Wizards who, apart from committing heinous murders, were likely the child of some sort of foul magic.
Our intelligence had shown that you were harboring them here.
Unknowingly.
That is not the reports that I read.
Hmm.
From what I had seen, he kind of stands up from his chair at this point. From what I had seen, you already knew. You knew that we were after them and hid them away. Wasn't it underneath the city?
They protected something for us. They wished not to leave, and we did not question it.
So you knew they were fugitives.
That is not at all what I said.
We knew they had enemies, but we all do.
We knew that they wished to remain hidden. We did not ask. We were desperate for magic users.
My sources are extensive, and I know that you're lying.
You have no proof?
Neither do you. So here we are. A couple of my mages have been killed, and you have been harboring fugitives from us.
A couple of our citizens have been killed. And you let loose into our city foul magic. I do not see why Valu and the Spire cannot exist in harmony. We have given you all the information we have about the two wizards.
He stares at you and looks around. He eventually stares at the unicorn from past the fence, who stares at the group. And then he turns back to you and he says, "Creatures of the forest will not save you."
I don't understand. They're clearly not here anymore. We've told you where they went. You have no business with us any longer.
What more do you want?
I came here looking for proof, and I have found none of it. Ideally, I had hoped you would lock them up Knowing full well that they were fugitives, you could have handed them over, and that would have been that. But now I have to send people. Lurking.
They're
all
powerful
over.
wizards that escaped the wizard spire. What were we to do?
That may be so. He stares over at Jack and says, but some of you are powerful wizards in your own right.
Do you wish for us to make contact with the Azer so as to get this affirmation that they fled to the Brass City?
I wish to return back to my studies and get away from this horrid, forest-ridden hellhole. He holds his staff up and passes his hand over it, and it glows for a brief moment. He speaks into the thing, and he says, uncooperative. Fugitives are missing. No verifiable information as to where they have gone. How do you report? And he pauses for a second, and if for all of you guys to see, he holds out his staff end towards the center of the room, and a voice emanates out from it. And I'm going to roll luck for you all.
Tries to cast something.
Well, at that, a voice comes back. It's crackling and unclear, as it must be traveling over a long distance, or maybe from some other plane, who knows, but it says, let them be. Return back at once. The man seems shocked and angry to some degree. He looks at you all with a sense of disgust, as though he heard the complete opposite of what he wanted. He stares at you all, and he says, well, you do not
stand
deserve
up.
this mercy.
Well, sir, it has been a pleasure speaking, but now that our business is through, I must ask you to leave my city.
He quickly hops onto his horse. He says, good day, and turns the thing around and trots off towards the gate. He scowls in the distance towards the doorman, who activates the gate and lets him free, and he rides off.
Curse that man and the horse he rode in on.
Well, let's not be too harsh on the horse.
At that point,
I turn to the council and say, thank you all for being here for that.
okay. At that point, I would like to inform all of you that the quest is more or less finished, and that you've successfully secured Valu's space in episode 2.
Yay! I thought you said it was ruins in episode 2.
He was joking.
The city
hope so.
will live on, and now, given the nature of some peculiar alliances, it'll have a very interesting character and some strange myths and rumors about the whole thing. The Azer do not return, and I would like all of you to take a moment to describe what it is that you would do with your coming lives. I know this is rather odd, but normally everybody simply dies. You guys you're done. This is what I have for you for the time being until episode 2.
I suppose
The death laser.
that'll be a little side project. Metal Tyrion that'll always have a place in his heart, and he'll always be working on it.
Okay.
But whether or not that comes to fruition is remains to be seen. But I suppose Metal Tyrion would continue to study magic, perhaps form some sort of guild, and as the city grows over time and over his lifespan, he would continuously search for people to teach magic to, and also, look at his prophecy. He'd also help Jack in whatever magical manner he could. But apart from that, Meneltiern has no alliances other than to fate, and this appears to be where it ends to him. So he will attempt to help the city in whatever way he can.
Okay. How about you, Vorak? What would you do in the years to come? Your character has lived, unlike most that play in my campaigns, and you've actually completed the main quest.
All right. Well, Vorok helped create the city, but is not on the council and doesn't have responsibilities. So I got big plan.
Well, I assume Vorak would help me establish the Adventurers Guild.
I would help, but I mean, basically, the rest of Vorok's life would be like searching for the bigger and better challenges, trying to kill
Searching for those dwarf assassins who are after him.
Yeah, taking out the story of Vork and the dwarf assassins, and finding all sorts of crazy creatures to kill, and continually trying to work with the druids to see if there's a way for him to become a stone giant, as his life goal had been. Maybe one day he'll head back and try to patch things over with his brother.
Okay. How about you, dude, Aaron?
Before I describe it, a question.
Yes, of course.
Does winter end in my lifetime? If not, there's some things that wouldn't be possible.
Okay. I'm gonna end the stream here, and then I'll tell you a thing or two. Okay, so I'm gonna kill stream.
Goodbye, stream.
Yes, indeed. So, goodbye, stream. Thanks to the players. Congratulations on actually completing the main quest. Like I said,
I know.
First ones to do so. There's another group that's
And-
like kind of on the heels. They might, but you guys did it.
Well,
And
before
hey,
we
at
kill
least we didn't allow slavery to come back.
Hey!
before we kill stream, I guess I'll just say like what I know would be possible.
Sure, yeah.
Don't want to I want to cuck the
Okay.
Twitch. Well, I mean, dude, Aaron would probably he'd establish the Adventurers Guild.
Okay.
He would probably work with Jack and Var and everyone to make sure the town grows and whatnot. Eventually, just find a wife, have kids, and quit this whole adventuring thing.
Raise cows.
Probably, go back to your roots.
Sounds good. So, with that,
Oh, and build a shrine to the fallen friends.
I want all three of you, before I close stream and tabletop, to roll luck, and I'll tell you how those momentary plans work out. And as for you, Ivan, your thing's not necessarily ended, because your brother is out there somewhere and is currently on another quest which is not ended, and who knows if you'll get to him. So what do we have for luck here? So who was that
Meneltiern didn't
8?
do great. That's a Meneltiern.
Meneltiern, your days are cursed. It seems that the people of Valu, though good-natured and pure of heart, are not really the kind for magic, and you find a great deal of difficulty when it comes to trying to get them to finally take on the thing. You do, however, find that there is a couple of disciples that you're able to take under your wing, though not enough to really make a proper school, just like a small squad. You train them in some degree of like an elite secret club where you pass on these spells to them. What would you bind them to? What ideals would you set out for them?
What ideals would I set out for them?
What should be their goals as this
First
group of
and
wizards?
foremost, to spread magic, to teach others where possible,
Okay.
to expand and gather knowledge of the magic of the world,
Okay.
and to help the city of Valu grow and prosper.
You spend the majority of your days here in Valu, making sure that things end up good, but it's actually during your lifetime and within the next couple of years that these group of talented individuals actually leave the city, and they take with it pretty much all the city's magical talent other than you and Jack, and head off searching for knowledge and go off to see if they can accomplish your quest. Don't know what'll become of them, but you send them off into the world anyway. And who knows, maybe something will come of it. As for you, Vorok, the wolf eventually calls on you for this task, that is to bind the two of you. As you would imagine, the slaying of great beasts is involved. And what did you roll?
17.
You are not killed in the fight, but victoriously managed to defeat what looks like a group of youngling black dragons that have been spotted in mountains nearby. You spend long time away, only returning to Volu every now and then as a sort of pit stop, coming back from the winter to the warm and treed city. Your days are, well, they're busy ones. You quest quite a bit and slay many monsters until eventually your final days. As for you, Dudairn, you manage to make a family. With that 16 roll, you find a nice wife. Being the leader of the town kind of gives you the pick of the litter in a bit of a way there. And your line continues on. Who knows what it'll be in the future, but you put your adventuring days behind you, and that's that.
Now, Metal Tyrn being an elf lives for a long time.
Lives for a long time, so I need to close stream.
Oh.
Yeah. Goodbye, stream.
Exactly.
It's been fun.
Bye, stream.
Bye,
Do my
stream.
wizards ever come back?
Thanks for everything, stream. Players, audience, patrons, you're all great. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
I'm actually kind of tearing up a bit.